Hello, 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 everyone. It's me, Chris Rivers, also known as the Poe Engineer. I am so excited to be here. Welcome to this free workshop. If you're watching this and downloading, I hope you enjoy it. Pole dancing with chronic illness. I'm so excited for this workshop. I am giving it free because it is important and full of important information, and I'm sure I'll probably do more of these as I learn more information and learn more ways to deal with everything I'm living with and everything others are living with. So I hope you're ready. Here we go. Pole dancing with chronic illness. As you can see, I added some pictures here with Canva. We're gonna go to the next one. So here's a quick introduction. Introduction about me, of course. I've been pole dancing for about 8, 9 years. I started in the strip club to help pay for college, and then learned you can get paid to teach and get certified. So I went that route. After taking a long break, I started at pole in the wall. Shortly after, started pole in the call, got expert 1 and 2 certified, and then 3 and 4. Also, Body by Fran, Pole Strong Level 1 Specialist certified, which was a beautiful certification. I love pole dancing. I love how it changes everybody's lives. I love being part of the progress of so many incredible dancers, and I can't wait to bring this content to you. So this workshop is to help other pole dancers living with chronic illness. I am not a doctor. It's important to say and remember that. These are all the tips I have learned with research and trying myself over the years. I currently live with HIV, addiction, depression, and insomnia. And these two illnesses alone, and all the ones I mentioned, can affect how I train and take care of my body. We should all be aware while training with a chronic illness. The goal is to pole dance for years to come. My hope is that these tips and tricks will help you plan a successful training plan while dealing with things out of your control due to a chronic illness. And like I said, I will continue to redo this and improve as I get more information and learn more from what you all want to see. So feel free to email me and let me know what you think of this. But first and foremost, always check it with your doctors. Let them know what is going on. Also, do your own research. Many times, our doctors do not know much about pole dancing and what it does to our bodies and why we're doing things like that. There are so many creators out there with similar stories and tips. Always do your own research and find what works for you. Um, Maybe see special physical therapists. There's so many amazing pole dance physical therapists, the pole physio, Dr. Emily Rausch, Kanisha Savage, and so many more that can help you, especially if your primary doesn't know how to help you certain answers and things like that. You should always talk to your doctor depending on what's chronic illness you have when it comes to fitness. So keep that in mind. Many studios will have you do sign waivers or health forms and things like that. And we will continue. And remember, I am not a doctor, so always check with your doctor. So chronic illness or chronic disease is defined by the CDC, or the Center for Disease Control, um, broadly as conditions that last 1 year or more and require ongoing medical attention or limit activities of daily living or both. So I learned that now people are using chronic disease, which is good to know. um, but it's any condition that lasts a year or more, and you find that it's limiting certain things, certain physical activities, maybe you're getting tired more, things like that. And that is what a chronic illness is, or a chronic disease is. Now, there are various chronic illnesses that pole dancers are living with. So many people are living from, but many pole dancers are going through similar things that you are going through. You are not alone. Um, and many people deal with various chronic heart disease, heart failure, lung disease, COPD, emphysema, pneumonia, chronic pneumonia, and blood diseases. I live with HIV, which doesn't usually limit me, but the medication really does, and we'll get into medication after. But um, but there's all sorts of internal diseases like that that affect pole dancers. Next, we also have addiction and other chronic mental disorders or illnesses, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, things like that obviously can affect pole dancing. It's important you keep in contact with your doctor, take whatever treatments provided. Addiction's tough because our treatment varies. I've done the steps. I went to NA, I did to AA, I tried doing the steps, and found it didn't work for me. I found pole dancing and yoga and keeping myself busy and active was a better stress relief. And a better way to manage my pill addiction and during Corona, alcohol addiction. Other chronic mental disorders like depression, obviously, you want to stay in bed, things like that. Those kind of illnesses can really infect your training and what you do and what you want to do. And then you have muscle or bone illnesses like arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, ED or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobility, so many other things going on with your muscles, your bones, your joints, ligaments, and things like that. So, as you see, there's so many various chronic illnesses that people and pole dancers in general are living with. Many might not share them, but we all have something or quite a few somethings going on. Medication. So, we named just a few of all the chronic illnesses. Now, there are plenty more. And feel free to reach out to me with some illnesses you're dealing with so I can add that for the next time I update this and share it. But now we go into medications. Now, like I said, the HIV doesn't really affect me because I take my medication. It is the medication that sometimes affects me. It makes me drowsy. Sometimes I get stomach cramps and diarrhea. Sorry for TMI. But things like that do hinder my pole experience, do hinder how I train, what I want to train, the rest I get. And it's not because of the virus, it's because of the medication. And of course, addiction hinders me. Sometimes I want to drink or do something else, but I just try to stretch, do a quick little dance, something that's peaceful, keeps me active and gets my mind off it. But being mindful of other medications, such like blood thinners, like warfarin, Coumadin, things like that. They may cause more bruising, and things with blood clotting and stuff like that. So definitely keep in contact with your doctor because, as you know, pole dancing gives you our pole kisses. So there's a lot of bruising and stuff. So always monitor that. Other medications might make you drowsy or slow to react. Obviously, allergy medicine, diphenhydramine, sometimes antidepressants can make you a little drowsy and zonky. I know when I used to be addicted to Klonopin, that shit would make me pass the hell out. Especially if I took too much, or sometimes not even pass out, but I just wasn't there and doing things that I don't remember and people said I did. But you may have to pull at certain times depending on side effects. Track what happens and when you are at your best for training. So track when you take a medication, track what times of day you have the most energy, track what happens after you eat this, track when's the best time for you to train. It's hard to remember everything that's going on, so writing it down definitely makes a difference. Always check with your doctor for medication adherence while performing any form of fitness. I'm not saying to quit your medications. I'm saying be mindful of how you train and why you take these medications because everything affects you differently. And all our bodies are different. And of course, going into medical marijuana, I am a medical marijuana card holder and I got to renew it. But medical marijuana has come such a long way. I am a strong believer in its many benefits, from the benefits from THC to CBD. You have to find out what works for you, and as always, talk with your doctor. There's so many different CBD and now even THC, like topical ointments for muscle pain, muscle soreness, things like that. I haven't yet seen like a THC CBD pole grip, but that would be fucking fascinating if that happened. Anywho, and then of course there's different kinds of medical THC edibles, tinctures, liquids that you can drink, or flower that you could smoke that you could take for maintenance of anxiety if you have anxiety doing pole, pain maintenance, if you're having appetite issues, things that will make you hungry. And there's so many things that help with so many different ailments. I am not a doctor, remember, all I can go is by my experience and what I've learned. I definitely advise if you state allows it, reach out to a medical marijuana doctor. They can definitely help you answer all your questions, tell you what the right dosage is, tell you what will help you for your symptoms, what you're dealing with. I will tell you, medical marijuana has helped me get off my antidepressant medications. It helped me with insomnia for a while, but I think I built a tolerance. I'm not smoking the right stuff. And I've been so busy lately, so now I'm working on that. But that's a different story. But be mindful, many doctors will try to keep you on regular medications. Do your research and find what works for you. Some of these doctors, people don't know this, but some of these doctors get paid to prescribe certain medications by these companies. And not only that, they are required to prescribe these medications and they are not allowed to say, hey, go check out medical marijuana. Of course, you can ask questions and they'll give their opinion, but do your research, try your own stuff. There's so much going on out there, so much information, and you never know until you try it. Moving on from medical marijuana. Now, 4 steps to engineer your pole training. Now, these 4 steps for me work with everything. I learned them with software engineering, and I have learned to apply them with forgive me, pole dancing and training. So your first one is to plan. Plan your pole training, assess what your weaknesses are and what you can do to improve. Break it down rather than attack it all at once. See what's going on. See if like you're weaker during the morning, weaker at night, if taking this medication makes you weaker, if not taking a medication makes you weaker, if taking a medication makes you stronger. Of course, you can get specific, like if you're specific training a specific pole goal, assess your weaknesses, like if you're, for example, an invert, is your weakness in the hold, the straddle hold, is your weakness in the tilt back, or is your weakness in the ab leg lift? Break it down like that. Assess your weaknesses like that. Be real with yourself, be honest with yourself. This is the time for you to say, yes, this is where I need to work on. If I want to get the overall picture, these are the small steps I have to take rather than throw myself into it, burn myself out, and tire myself out. So this requires a little research, a little planning, of course, writing it down, tracking, assess your weakness, be honest, and then plan what you're gonna do. Next is to create. So create a realistic pole training plan with everything that you just researched and all the information that you just learned, all your planning for all your weaknesses, exercises you might want to do to train specific goals to get to the overall goal. But create a realistic pole training plan to attack the goals you created in a plan phase. Create the plan for a specific time frame. You can do a month, you can do 2 months, 3 months. Business goals I tend to do quarterly. Pole training goals I tend to do every, depending on what I'm training and how far I got to go, every month, every 2 months, sometimes every 3 months if it's something really challenging. Sometimes even longer. There's some things I just have not gotten yet. And I take a step back from them. But create a realistic pole training plan. Start with the basics. If it's something you're really bad at, start with the off pole, low pole conditioning, then work your way up. Assess what your weaknesses. Another example is Aisha's. Is it um excessive if it's your bottom arm push, the top arm pull, if it's the shoulder engagement, if it's the abs, if it's the hip flexors, what is going on, and then find out how you can condition all that and then put it all together. There's so many ways to break everything down: pole climbs, inverts, shoulder mounts, Aishas. You can create a very awesome plan with plenty of off pole and on pole exercises if you did good planning in the plan phase. Next is to implement your plan that you just created. So whether you decided to train once or twice or 3 times a week, make sure you get your rest, of course. Now it's time to implement the plan. Start slow with off pole, on pole, low pole conditioning, then maybe work with connecting pieces. Go week by week. see what happens. Be sure to track as you go what works, what doesn't work. Did you need extra rest time? Did this work better than another day? Did something you ate completely ruin it? Did medication you take completely ruin it? What was going on? Maybe it was just a painful day because of the weather. A lot of times, weather affects your bones and muscular pain. Note these things so you can remember them in the future. But implement the plan you created, start training, be flexible. Sometimes you have to move things around or switch things. But yeah, that was the time to take your plan and put it into action. And of course, the fourth step is to revise and redo. After your given time frame, whether it's month, 2 month, 3 months, a year, revise the plan and redo the final two steps. Can you move on to the next level of the exercises? Can you add more training time? So many things to consider when revising your plan. Maybe now you're in an invert, you're holding the stronghold longer, and you can lift your legs and do a mini crunch up now, but it's the tilt back. So that's the last piece you need to connect. Really revise, see what's going on. Maybe you completely mastered your goal, and now it's just fine tuning, adding things, maybe turning it into a combo, pointing your toes or things, or holding it longer. Revise your plan and then recreate it. I'm not saying completely redo your plan because some things you might have to keep, but redo it. Assess it, be realistic with yourself again, and then go from there to move on and continue on with your progress. And of course, reach out if you ever have any questions. There's so much more to this. But yeah, this is pretty much the basis of it. If you have any questions, let me know. These are my 4 steps to engineering your pole training. With these steps, you can think of the overall view, which is pretty much how I broke it down for this chronic illness workshop, or you can think of the specific targets, whether it's a specific pole goal, specific pole trick. Overall goals are maybe you want to be able to do more pole classes in a week. Maybe you want to be able to complete a pole class. So really assess yourself, be specific of what you want, and find out how to get there using these steps. Now, break that shit down. And I say this a lot on my Instagram. If you don't follow me, feel free to follow me at Chris Rivers underscore the pole engineer. And that's on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Now, break that shit down. No one should be just throwing themselves into tricks and combos, but this is especially the case for those of us living with something that ails us. We should all break whatever we are training down to get our body ready for the movement before going into it. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, sometimes I can just do a move. Why can't I do a move? And that's okay. I understand that feeling. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I got this. But it's really important if we want to continue to do this for the long haul to get our bodies ready for it. Don't just throw ourselves into it just because we can do it. Because maybe our body's not ready just that specific day. Maybe we're not doing it right and we don't even realize it. But really break it down just to warm and condition beforehand, and it will really help you pull longer and prevent injury. I when I was stripping, I used to get so many injuries because I would learn something on YouTube because there wasn't much information out back then, and then just try to throw myself into it, not knowing how to engage my muscles properly, not knowing how to breathe, and knowing how to do this. So I had a lot of injuries. And it wasn't until I actually took Body by Friends post strong specialist certification where I learned the importance of assessing and breaking everything down. I had already kind of thought about it before, but that certification really emphasized it and helped me like get my thoughts together with it. And it really does work. Um, Example, if you know you are working on inverts, maybe do some floor hip raises, some floor pole choppers, and pole crunches to get your body or muscles ready for the movements. Warm-ups are great, but not always sufficient when practicing certain movements. So sometimes you have to replicate that movement. Sometimes you have to get your body ready for the pole sensations lightly without just throwing yourself into it. And breaking that shit down helps. I promise you, you'll love it. It'll help. And sometimes all the time, help you get a better understanding of what's going on in your body, more body awareness, which is always important, and getting used to your body movement. So remember, break that shit down. Planning and just going into your practice. Instructors, you should be breaking it down for students. We should all try to stop throwing our students into stuff, because a lot of times they won't return if they don't feel successful, or if they are just so tired after, or feel so much pain or hurt. And we want to prevent that, and we want to give them the fundamentals and foundations to be able to do this for the long run, especially when we're living with chronic illness. Like, really break that shit down, and it helps preserve our body, and it helps not tire us out quickly, especially with some of the medications that we're on, depending on what we're going on, or some of the ailments like lung disease or chronic heart failure. Like, you really should break that down rather than just jumping into it, quickly elevating your heart rate, quickly elevating your blood pressure and things like that. Take your time, enjoy the process, and break that shit down. Next, we have, are you tracking? Now, I mentioned a little bit about this earlier. Track everything to find what works for you and what does not work for you. We cannot remember it all, so write what happens. Think of it like a fitness diary. Now, I'm not saying you have to go and like write like Dear Diary X, S, et cetera, et cetera. But track what's going on, track how you feel, track what worked, track the kind of classes you enjoyed, track the exercises so you can remember. Video tracking helps too. Track side effects from a new medication. How do you feel training after eating a specific meal? Exercises you enjoyed, choreo you enjoyed, music you enjoyed. It definitely helps make pole dancing long time enjoyable, and helps you keep growing and learning and just experimenting with yourself and your body. And especially if you're living with chronic illness, it helps you train safer and better so you don't make yourself feel worse. As always, talk to your doctor, and this tracking makes it easier to talk to your doctor, because you can say, this is going on when this happens, this is what's going on when this happens. So it's so important you track. I track, especially when I was first diagnosed with HIV. I had to go through multiple medication changes, and I was tracking everything, because some of the medication, yeah, they worked with the long-term CDC count, and viral load, but they were making me sick. I was throwing up constantly, diarrhea, constant stomach pains and headaches. So it took a while to find, not a while, but a couple tries to see what's going on for me. And tracking helped my doctor understand what was going on. So I definitely recommend this tracking. Next is napping, and this is another thing I promote a lot, especially on Sundays. Don't be afraid to take naps. We should promote adult napping. Quick naps like cat nap and power naps are preferred. Any longer and you wake up groggy. Find out an ideal quick nap time frame for yourself. So this might require experimentation. Set alarms for yourself. Sometimes our bodies will force us to sleep longer and we don't mean it. So set alarms to avoid missing things. There's nothing like saying, I'm gonna close my eyes for 10 minutes and then waking up like an hour later. It sucks, but it's your body saying you needed this, and it happens to all of us. So set those alarms and experiment with what kind of naps make you feel good, more energized, and what kind of naps make you feel like complete crap. There are some people going through some things that naps don't help them, and I'm sorry if that happens. That's awful. But we keep that in mind as well. Um, but don't be afraid to take naps. We're always making children take naps, and they're constantly growing and have so much energy. Why don't we do it when we're supposed to be even busier than them? It should be a common thing. Some countries make napping and taking a break in the middle of the day required. So it's important. Don't be afraid, especially when you're living for chronic illness. Take care of our bodies. This is for everybody, but yeah, why the hell not take a nap? And track, of course. And now we're going into nutrition. Now, I am no nutritionist, but I have been pole dancing for a while. And if you've been pole dancing for a while, you know that certain things you eat either the day of or the night before set you up for success, and certain things that you eat or drink the night or day of do not set you up for success. So make sure you drink plenty of water and protein first and foremost. If you're a vegetarian, find what proteins you need because you're training like an athlete, so you may need more protein than as a normal vegetarian. Drink plenty of water. Pole dancing requires a lot of energy and muscle growth. Fuel your body with foods that will help it function better. So protein, if you're training hardcore, maybe light carbs to give you that energy, because you don't only want protein for the muscles, but you do want carbs for energy. Greens, of course, to give you that light feeling, that less bloated feeling. I know for myself, eating pizza, the stuff I love, of course, pizza, burgers, nachos, things like that. The night of or the night before, like classes or teaching or a training session, no bueno. Like it completely sets me up for failure. My body's flexibility sucks, my range of motion sucks, my strength sucks. Like I don't want to do anything. And then days when I have like rice bowls or like a chicken salad or like a nice grilled panini or something like that. I feel good. I want to train, my training is successful and things like that. So track that, find what works for you. If you're training tomorrow, do not eat heavy and fatty foods today. Eating a double cheeseburger fries will have you feeling very different than eating a rice bowl packed with veggies and protein. So keep this in mind. There is a correct way to train, especially when living with chronic illness. We should definitely be taking care of our nutrition, depending on what we're going on with. Some of us have diabetes. Some of us dancers have diabetes, high cholesterol, things like that. And that could affect your pole dancing. If you're dancing, you don't want to have a low or high sugar rush and then pass out. So nutrition is key. See so many so many different things people are living with. So make sure you track that, track what works for you, talk to your doctor to make sure you know what's going on, and things like that. Next is self-care. Now, it's so important to remember that self-care is not selfish. I used to love this meme. Do not be afraid to get a massage or see a chiropractor or have a spa day and etc. Pole dancing puts some stress on our body at times. You need to relieve that stress. Take days off, practice nerve glides or foam rollers, have your partner massage you. There are so many ways to perform self care and give our bodies that love it deserves. Maybe you do a hot sauna. I know some people who do the ice baths. I take the cold, the like two, I could do the 2 minute cold shower thing, but not the ice bath yet. But find what self-care works for you. It's so important that you take care of your body, especially if you're training for a competition and especially if you're living with a chronic illness. These things really do help with the muscle soreness, do help with the tiredness, the fatigue, and help with other things going on while training for pole dancing and taking certain medications and living with things. Self-care is not selfish. It is okay to call out and take a personal day. We all need it. Um, we should all be doing more of it. Um, and this definitely helps with our long-term being and mental health and all sorts of stuff. Oh my, it looks like that is all for my free chronic free pole dancing with chronic illness workshop. I know I just went over a lot of information. Um, Again, I am not a doctor. These are some of the things I learned, some of the things I'm going through, some of the things I've heard from other pole dancers, some of the things I've researched, some of the things I've learned from my doctors. Remember, there's no right answer to any thing. You have to know yourself, talk to your doctor, do your research, and know what's going on with your body because medications affect us differently, training affects us differently, nutrition affects us differently, rest and lack of rest affects us all differently. And it's sad that there's no right answer to it, but you have to learn what's good for you. Tracking helps. Um, there's so many ways to do it. My 4 steps to engineering your pole training. I hope that helps you. Make sure you plan it, do your research, find out what you need to get it done, and then create your plan. using everything you found, using everything you need to improve on your weaknesses, and then implement that plan. And then, of course, revise and redo after all of that. You can learn more about that in another free workshop I have, which will explain my 4 steps and how they can help you and benefit you. Or you can book a free call with me. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this little workshop. I can't wait to update this more and put in more information. Please feel free to email me at chrisrivers3141@gmail.com. So email me what you thought, email me what you want to hear, email me what you didn't want to hear, so I can improve this and keep it free and continue giving out this information. Please lead other people to this in case they need more information. If you're looking for more information, please let me know. I can send you to a lot of resources. I did want to create a resource page on this. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't sure um what I should do or how to approach it, but maybe next time I will for the update. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope I did not bore you with this content or this information. Please feel free to reach out. Let me know what you thought, what you want to see. And follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Again, I am Chris Rivers, aka the Pole Engineer. Thank you for tuning in for this pole dancing with chronic illness free workshop. And I hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.